Australian Institute for Disaster Resilience defines emergency management as a range of measures to manage risks to communities and the environment, and the organisation and management of resources for dealing with all aspects of emergencies. The Australian approach to emergency management uses 4 phases: prevention, preparation, response and recovery, PPRR, although often phases may overlap. In Australia, managing emergencies is a shared responsibility across many stakeholders and occurs across all phases of emergency management. The same approach is used for all hazards. Prevention focuses on eliminating the impact of hazards and reducing our vulnerability to them. However, this is not always possible. In these instances, we must accept that this type of incident will occur and try to mitigate the impact and increase our resilience to the impact. For example, in an area that is known to flood, a no-build zone could be established so that flooding of housing is no longer a risk. A levee could be constructed to mitigate the impact of a flood, and community education activities to raise awareness of the risk and actions to take in the event of flooding should be undertaken. Preparedness is about taking steps before an incident occurs to ensure there will be effective response and recovery. For example, to prepare for a flood, the emergency services may develop pre-incident plans, conduct flood studies, train personnel, conduct exercises, and work with the community to help them be aware and prepared. When an incident does occur, there will be an organised response. This uses pre-agreed arrangements. The aim is to contain, control, or minimise the impact of the incident. This will involve trained personnel and a number of other stakeholders, including the community. For example, when flooding occurs, emergency services may create sandbag walls to reduce flooding impacts on property, undertake flood rescues, issue evacuation orders, open evacuation centres, and help affected communities look after their property, animals, and businesses. After an incident has occurred, action will be taken to help minimise disruptions and help communities return to normal or improved levels of functioning. Ideally, this will incorporate plans and development actions that promote a more resilient community to similar incidents in the future. Recovery is short, medium, and long-term. Examples of recovery actions after a flood include restoring utilities, repairing and rebuilding damaged structures, replacing roads, fences, and damaged stock. This is the ongoing, shared, and collaborative approach to emergency management used in Australia. We try to keep improving our capacity to manage the risks created by different hazards. Remember, our goal is always to create increasingly resilient organisations and communities.